I ain't got time for no jibber jabber. I remember those commercials. What was those for? 1-800-COLLECT, weren't they? I think so.
Yeah. He never did any Slim Jim commercials, did he? That was only Macho Man.
Um, I never remember him. It's just Macho Man.
I remember Mr. T cereal, and I thought it was just a rip off of Captain Crunch.
You know, honestly, I tell you, since once I had Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I said I don't need anything else.
No, Cinnamon
So,
Toast Crunch is pretty good. I'm gonna have to say that Frosted Cheerios are probably my favorite. Really like me some Frosted Cheerios. And I'm not a big
well,
cereal eater.
no, not me, but I would say out of all the cereals I've tried, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That is my go-to. That's my favorite. That is my everything when it comes to cereal. I've had other cereals since then, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
So so difficult sometimes for me to adjust my hair so you can see my badge because I'm reversed. So this is my left hand over here. Like trying to reach. Oh, so weird. It's weird.
We're in the mirrorverse. Just think, we're in the mirrorverse.
Exactly. Oh, we still need to come up with a cool Mirrorverse episode. Maybe we'll start that with the actual Mirror universe. I don't know, but I don't know what season it is. Let me check it real quick.
I don't know, but
What was it called? Mirror, Mirror? Star Trek episode. Yep.
that's when you see Kirk dressed as a pirate with a pirate shirt.
He
uh,
should have been in the brig, the evil Kirk, like the mirror Kirk in the brig on the normal Enterprise, and just screaming, "What are you doing?"
what are you doing?
Season 2, episode 4. All right.
And
Anyway,
that was
back
kind of
to the
his first little dip into the what ifs of Star Trek. You know, what if Captain Kirk was bad? What if Spock was devious, like the Romulan?
Yeah, I very much like the one episode of you said that you haven't really watched it, but there's a mirror episode of the Enterprise, and in that episode, so you remember the Tholian web?
Uh huh. Yeah.
In that episode, the Defiant is trapped, which is a Constitution class, just like the Enterprise is trapped in the net, and Kirk is in it, and he's all like in another dimension, and they end up getting Kirk back, but the ship disappears. The ship actually goes to the mirror universe. So when you go to the Enterprise episode, the evil Archer finds the ship, which is 100 years ahead of, whatever, much more advanced than his, and it's being held by the Tholians, and they capture it. So here's mirror evil Archer with a high-powered starship that's more powerful than anything in the, I don't know, not the Confederacy, the Empire is what it was called in that one, right?
Um.
But the Terran Empire.
Yeah.
And like
I think so.
he's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
and he decides he wants to take over, and he's just decimating the entire Federation fleet with this futuristic. It was pretty cool. All right, well, I am ready when you are. Let me know you got all the other
I'm
goodies going, the Twitchies and stuff.
so we've been streaming, and so we just kind of we're just kind of shooting the breeze for a second as
Mhm.
getting up the handy dandy IMDb with the trusty synopsis here of the Corbimite Maneuver, which is again just Wizard of Oz episode. Ha ha! Here we
Kinda,
go.
yeah.
And here we go. Up and ready. Ready when you are. Let's go, Captain!
All right, welcome back to the Rules of Nerdquisition. This is episode 11, Corbimite Maneuver. I am Gretchen. I am joined, as always, by my faithful and best number one in the fleet, Commander Gilbert, who is above me in this, if you're watching the video. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Doing great. How you doing today?
So I'm doing fantastic. Doing fantastic. Anytime I'm not at work is fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I will take that.
I just had my smoothie. I'm good to go. I got my coffee right here, aka my Rectigino.
Ractigino.
Absolutely.
I'm having water with raspberry lemonade mix in it. We'll call it prune juice, I guess. It's not. But it's the only slightly colored version of Star Trek drink I could think of at the moment. But whatever.
All right.
It is what it is.
It is what
So
it
yeah.
is. So yeah,
We're
Corbimite.
reviewing Corbimite. It's
I always get this. I always have to look at it. Corbimite.
yes, Corbomite.
Because I always keep wanting to say Corbinite, but it's no Corbomite.
And I'm
So-
actually a fairly good speller. I've got a large vocabulary, but maneuver is one of those words I can't write without first looking it up. Like, am I spelling this right? Is the
Yeah,
E
it's just
before
one of
the
those,
U,
like,
or is
wait.
the U before the E? I don't know.
It's like, is it EU? UE? Wait. Is it like
All
one
the
V
time.
or two V's? Wait. How many R's are in it?
Yeah, I used to feel that way about the word embarrassment until I realized that the word embarrassment has all the R's and all the S's in it. So that's just how I remember it.
How do you embarrass yourself? Spell embarrass.
How do you? How do I embarrass myself? Embarrass myself? How I used to spell the word maintenance, not maintenance. I used to spell it maintain ants. Anyway,
Anyway, so
in space, no one can see you spell.
that is true too. So we start out in a section of unexplored space. The Enterprise comes across a marker of sorts that will not let it pass. So think of like it's anybody who's watching this, like a little one of those little like cube things. If you've ever seen Tron, like a little brightly thing. So trigger warning if anybody has like epileptic issues. Please be cautioned. It's very
Caution.
very colorful and very bright.
It kind of reminds me of a hacky sack.
It is, yeah.
'Cause you ever
like
seen
a-
the cube hacky sacks that have the different
Yeah.
colors on each? I'm like that.
That's exactly what it looked like. Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
we got this
they try to
buoy
move.
blocking us.
And it follows him, and it tries to move again. It follows him, and then it starts shooting out some radiation, which starts killing them.
Well, one thing I want to
Well-
touch on real quick is actually, because Spock calls for red alert, and
Yeah, that's
Bailey, our little navigator guy, Bailey, he's got a few wires loose.
Yeah.
Has that big like outburst all of a sudden, like he's freaking out. And there's the
all of a
whole
sudden
like
it's like,
conversation.
what are we doing out here? Like,
And
You-
there's
you-
the whole
you-
conversation with Spock about, I have an adrenaline gland. And Spock's like, you should think about having that removed.
yes.
But we also get one of McCoy's, I think it's the first time he ever does his little metaphor thing. Because he says, like, what am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle commander? Because he doesn't tell Kirk when the red alert goes off. Because he's given Kirk his
because he's
his,
giving him his
physical,
physical, yeah.
and he wants to get it done for once.
He's like, beep,
See,
beep,
that-
beep. So, what do I look like? Oh, Dr. McCoy.
I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
Oh, Dr. McCoy. Oh, cantankerous Dr. McCoy.
But hey, he did get it done.
Did get it done. Got Starfleet medical off his ass. So we're
Meanwhile,
all good.
Sulu's warning Bailey of the downsides of crossing brains with
So
Spock.
meanwhile, we got some weird bright cube glowing thing that's out here. We don't know what's going on. And the
And
doctor's like, I don't care. He's got a physical.
isn't he? Yeah, isn't he laying on his back with the little like the feet
Yeah.
pump things?
He's laying on his back like a leg press, like you would see in a gym, like a leg press in a gym.
Right. Right, yeah. I mean, I know it's supposed to just check his cardio and heart rate and stuff like that, but it's like, this seems weird. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've done that stuff. Like, ever taken like a, what do they call those? Cardiac test, where you go to the doctor and you gotta like run on the treadmill for a while
Oh
and,
yeah.
and like, you know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
test out your cardio.
Then
So
again, if you've got some Trek fans in your life that refuse to go to the doctor, maybe you can entice them. Like, hey, we have a official Star Trek sick bay wall mounted leg press that you can.
hey, so do that right there, leg press, official Star
True,
Trek.
true story. I used to have. Well, I still do. My dentist, he has a TV. It's on the ceiling above it, so when you're down there getting work, he'll put on whatever you want. And I've watched some sci-fi there before. Next time I'll go over there and be like, hey, can you put Pluto on? Just go to the Next Generation channel or Star Trek channel.
Yeah, so like just gotta see what's going on right there. Just have to see what's
Yeah,
happening.
Bailey is he's
So
really
he's freaking out, and so
he wants to shoot. He wants to shoot.
he's ready to shoot everything. 'Cause
Oh yeah.
he's freaking out, doesn't know what's happening, and then Bailey, then he gets calmed down for whatever reason.
I did. Wasn't
Finally
that when
calms down.
Kirk is like, "I'll keep your suggestion in mind once this becomes a democracy."
And
This is a
again, we
Kirk
see
Tatership.
with Spock always with those right on time zingers, you know. He's
Every
like,
single
well,
time.
every single time. He's like, well, you should look into getting that removed.
And it's interesting that they sit there for 18 hours before Spock even gives the suggestion that it could be a buoy or flypaper, as he calls it. I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure, other than just keeping him stuck in place, if that was his intended meaning with that. But
yeah.
18
Or
hours to come to that conclusion,
hey, I don't
Spock,
know.
come on.
I it could be so myriad of things. I guess honestly, it could. Because I would think you'd have to narrow it down. Like, what would glow like that? Would it be living or alive, living or dead? Something living. What would glow like that? And I don't know how the
Right.
Vulcan mind works or whatever. How much stuff is out there in the universe that is seen that could match that. So it probably could have taken that long. I'm just saying.
It could have, but yeah, at this point, this is when
But
they're deciding that that they got to get away from this thing. It's like Kirk's getting annoyed.
yeah,
He's like, we gotta go, but nothing works. I don't
that's
fully
a
understand what it means by a spiral escape path. I mean, I don't know, up or down or sideways. I mean, there's no up or down in space. It's all X, Y, and Z. But you know,
I
no,
don't
they
know.
can't get
Maybe
away, and
this.
that's the radiation issue though. When we start,
But the radiation issue starts happening with this buoy, but we don't know it's a buoy at the time when it starts emitting this radiation, and they give the order to destroy it. Boom, it's
and this
destroyed.
time, and this
Hey,
time, Bailey has to be told twice to shoot the
yes.
thing. But
And
he
all of a
was so
sudden he's
amped
ready to shoot so quick the
to shoot
first
it,
time, and then now it's like, Bailey,
and now he's not following orders when he's
yeah.
told.
uh, space madness, space madness.
But they'll never get my ice cream bar.
Yeah, space madness. And
That
so,
is definitely a guy that you do not put in a room with a red button and tell him not
no,
to push it.
that is not a red button kind of
No,
guy. No, he
no,
does not need
absolutely.
anything red that says "Do not push." Don't put that in front of him.
No. Yeah, he's got a devil. He's got a devil on each shoulder, not an angel and a devil. He's just wild and crazy.
Oh yeah, pretty much. So pretty much said, "Push it or we're gonna die." Push it. Just push it. Yeah. Oh, those are the two devils on his shoulders. That's what they said in conflict. So once they destroy the buoy, and then they start moving along, finally. And then all of a sudden, this gigantic disco ball Death Star shows up. I'm sorry, but it looks like a disco ball. It does.
It does look like a disco ball. It looks to me like something that somebody made out of like light bulbs. So I'm wondering if like
it could have been. It could have been like a disco ball that just had light bulbs all around it, that they put panels on it, and then just, hey. We got to remember, just like how Chris said, we got to remember there wasn't CGI back then. So
right, yeah, exactly. And we we did get a little bit of an interlude too before the showing up of the monstrous disco ball, which well it's got easily bigger than a Borg cube. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Well,
oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's a massive. But we got a little conversation with McCoy and Kirk and the turbolift, and it's kind of telling Kirk, that Bailey's a little stressed out. I have questions about this because I'm thinking, and again, being that we're in men's mental health month, you got to have stones of steel. If I was a captain on a real starship, I want all my bridge officers to have stones so heavy they need to wheel them to the turbolift in a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
I need nerves of steel.
Because you can't hesitate like that.
Yeah.
You hesitate like that and not following orders like that, and you hesitate that. I mean, that could easily just be boom, the whole Enterprise just being destroyed. So, yeah.
And he's showing a lot of stress and all that stuff, and they end up, they continue the conversation in Kirk's quarters. They have a drink. Spock, sends in a little update, stuff like that. And then it was something that in my notes where they were talking about McCoy puts a salad, puts him on a salad diet so that he can lose some weight. And
he's like,
this is straight out of the synopsis from Act 1. And that someone has assigned him an attractive female yeoman, Janice Rand, who had just delivered the salad. Like, here we go with Rand again. Like, oh, poor girl. Poor girl.
What is this? It's a salad diet. Thought Dr. McCoy told you. And he gives him the side eye. This what we doing?
This is what we're doing?
This what
really?
We're doing. Say, you sorry son of a. Oh, and so then
so now I want to. Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
So now that the disco ball Death Star showed up, we're now figuring out, wanting to know what's going on. Who is this? What's happening? And then, we get a hail. But it only goes to Bailey. Huh. It only goes through Mr. Bailey's comm. And the message is basically, get the hell out of here. For lack of better terms. It's just a very nice way of saying, yo man, you got to go.
What was the alien's name? Baylock?
Baylock.
Right? Like, I am Baylock. It's just because you just get this disembodied voice at first. And then...
I am Baylock. You are interfering. You crossed us. And then it's essentially like that. So, yeah. And again, just like how Chris said, it wasn't CGI back then, so it is what it is. And so that's when we get our first introduction to Baylock.
There you go. There's
There we
Baylock.
go. Oh, Baylock.
And they do like the weird,
They do like a weird kind of visual thing to where you
like
sort of
like
see
you were looking.
you see like a mouth moving, but you don't kind of see that.
They got the little heat wave effect, like you were looking at him down a stretch of highway in Arizona somewhere. Like
Right, just a whole bunch
the
of just
heat.
vapors, like heat vapors or something like that, go and just moving back and forth, and kind of just moving your mouth a little bit, just but. And if you look close at it, it's like you kind of notice that something's not quite right about this. It's like, and you can almost see Kurt going like,
And
something's not quite right.
it is the Fesarius, which is the flagship of the First Federation, not to be confused with the Federation of or United Federation of Planets. So
Correct. This is the first Federation.
we were the first Federation. We thought of it before you did. Okay, we were the first.
So I don't know who you guys are, but we're the first. And so
Yeah, and
they
Baylock's not a very pleasant person. Not a very pleasant
said, no,
individual.
he's a little bit of a jerk.
A little bit of a jerk. So even
Bit of a jerk.
even when Kurt tries to send out the little recording buoy, Baylock blows it up with the Fesarius, and then it's like, well, thanks for doing that. Now I have to destroy you. Because we what? Recorded something? Like
Say what?
I know
what
some
we
people
did.
don't
Say,
like to be.
you
Some
don't have
people
to
don't
be
like to be
rude.
recorded. Some people don't like to be recorded, but that's going a bit extreme. I'm just saying.
say, I get it. I get it. Hey, you don't like being recorded. But destroying the whole starship because of it, I mean, that seems to go a little bit too far. I think maybe you need a little bit of therapy. Just saying. Seems a little bit of extreme. Although I don't know the laws on your world, that may be the appropriate response. But it seems a little bit excessive. Anyways, we're moving on.
Yeah, and Baylock's like, nah, you got 10 minutes to pray to whatever God you believe in.
So, pray,
May they have
pray
mercy
whatever
on
God
your
you believe in.
souls.
Smoke them if you got them.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em. That would be the option I would take, probably. Like, y'all can pray. I'm going to go over here and light one up.
So,
All right?
let me fire up that holodeck real quick. Hold it. So, this is what happened, alright?
Yeah, and I mean, even Kirk says that they'll leave, but none of his pleas work. It doesn't matter that the probe was emitting radiation that was harmful to the crew. Doesn't matter that Kirk says, "Hey, we'll go the other way." Baylock is having nothing to do with it, and Bailey is becoming more and more unhinged by the moment.
So,
Like
yeah,
he is
he's becoming
really,
just,
really.
he's on the verge of just like, I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. Like he's right there. And at one point he actually does kind of snap and he gets relieved of duty.
Oh yeah. Kirk relieves him of duty, orders McCoy to escort him to his quarters, and and despite Kirk's continued pleas to Baylock, who's just not even responding anymore at this point, he's just like, "You got 10 minutes. I'm done. I'm out. See you in 10."
That's it. Say, look here, man, you gotta go. You gotta go. Like, I don't want to have to do it, but you know what? I got it. You gotta go. And so then,
Yeah, absolutely. And Spock doesn't really have any options either.
so Spock was
He's
just
asked
like,
it.
I guess just get destroyed. I don't know what else to do.
Well, this is where you get the difference between Spock as a chess player, despite the fact that Kirk routinely beats him. Um, but you got to imagine poker is such a recurring theme in Star Trek.
Yeah.
So if Spock
that
is a
true.
chess player, Kirk is the poker player. So
Yeah,
he,
because
he decides that.
even the whole poker thing carried on all the way from there to Next Gen, DS9, even Voyager. Yeah. poker's always been the game. Always been, or some version of poker, or some kind of card game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've always wanted to. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. I'll have to look it up because that's a story for a different time. I need to find out the name of the card game from the BSG remake. The
Oh,
what they play
awesome.
that Starbuck wins in the very first like miniseries. He's like full colors.
Yes.
I want to know what that game is. I want to know what that game is. Or what's the Star Wars one? Sabak,
Pazak.
Pizak,
Yeah.
the one that Han and Lando played that allowed Han to win the Millennium Falcon. But
Oh.
anyway,
Oh, that was no wait. No, yeah. That was Pazak. Yeah. But
now here's we do get a conversation though that I don't know how I feel about this. Again, I understand mental health is very important, and Bailey is very clearly under distress. And I
yes.
understand McCoy's position that he's a doctor and he's looking out for the well-being of the crew. But
Hmm.
I'm still kind of half and half that, like, okay, I get that. And maybe Bailey's a bit stressed out, but I would think these kind of traits would be screened out in Starfleet Academy. Because again, I need my bridge crew to
Yeah.
be just, maybe not Navy SEAL level, but I mean, there's a reason that they go through a certain amount of training and very few people make it.
Right.
You-
Exactly. Because I mean, here's the thing. And the only way I can also almost kind of equate it to it would be as like being a pilot. Because there was a guy that I used to work with long ago, and he was training to be a pilot, and he was telling me that there's a lot you have to go through to be a pilot, just in general, and then much less even to be like what kind of plane you're going to fly, because it's the basically the the bigger the plane, the more like 747s, for instance. Um, it is a lot of licenses in order to fly 747 versus a
Oh yeah.
commercial flight versus you know a crop dusting plane. You know, you have to have more training because you're going to be in a lot more high stress situations.
Oh
And
yeah,
that and
absolutely.
plus the fact is that because it's not only just that, just a different plane, just different machine. So you got to learn different things.
I had a friend who was a sonar tech on a submarine. This is how I've always kind of looked at Star Trek. Is to me, being on a starship is the equivalent to being in a submarine. You pop a hole in the hull, and everything is just going to crush in on you, and you're all going to
Yeah,
die. You know?
absolutely. Yeah, that too.
And my friend who was in the Navy used to say he's like, there's a certain aptitude test or stress test or something. I don't know if it was a physical test, how they actually did it. I was never in the military. I'm just grasping at straws from a conversation I had with a friend 20 years ago. But um,
Right.
there was a certain level of something you had to have to be on a sub. It took a little extra oomph than just being on a boat at sea. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I often take the Jack Burton approach to things. Like when him and I'm having nerd brain fart tonight. They're stuck in the elevator, and he's talking to his friend Wang, and he's saying, well, we can. There's the elevator cable, and Wang's like, it's 30 story, it's 3 or 4 stories up and covered in grease. He's like, yeah, it's real, and I can touch it. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
so so like when I'm climbing a mountain, people say to me, "Oh, I'm afraid of heights. I can't do that." Where in my mind, I'm like, well, technically, I'm still on the ground.
Huh.
Whereas,
Well,
that's my
I
logic. So
mean,
if I'm on a boat at sea and it sinks, my logic is still at least I can swim. I know there's other factors, how cold's the water, how far away is help, are there sharks, all lots of things. But I have more of a chance of swimming or floating on something and surviving than I do if my starship or my sub pops a hole while it's underwater out in space.
that is true too.
So I don't know. That's my weird logic. It's real and we can touch it.
Exactly. But no, but yeah, totally agree. So if you are deep in space, you cannot have your pilots. You cannot have the people that are navigating. You can't have people just all of a sudden just flipping out because
Oh,
something something new happens. I mean, that's what you signed up for, to go out into something that's unexplored. You signed up for that. You knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would think, as we've talked about before, we don't have any specific counselors on the Enterprise or Federation ships at this time. But at least not that we'd ever seen. So
No, no.
I just sort of assumed that McCoy's got a double as both, you know. Not that I would choose him as a therapist. If I had others to choose from, you know, I can deal with a doctor that's got rough bedside manner, but a therapist, now you're gonna have to be a little more gentle.
Yeah, especially if his form of therapy is just here, have a drink.
Curmudgeon is not a qualification I look for in therapists.
Right. I mean, it's cool if you want to hang out like that and you want to say, "Here, have a drink." Okay, that's one thing, but it's like, "Hey, doc, I have a problem. Here, have a drink." Okay, that's a different type of problem.
Well, it was in the cage itself when, the ship's doctor went into Pike's quarters and says, "Hey, sometimes people will tell their bartender things they won't tell a doctor, or tell their doctor. So here, have a martini." But yeah, this is when Kirk is looking at his hand and he's like, "Wow, I've got a 2, a 6."
He's got a 2, an 8, a 3, and a jack. And he's like,
And he knows that Balok's holding, at the very least, a straight flush or something.
Right.
In a full house,
So he knows that
at this point, Balok could beat Kirk with a pair of 2s.
It's like Balok has a royal flush, and all he has is just like a 3.
A 3.
Like,
I don't know where my other 4 cards went. I have a 3.
I just have a 3.
But yeah, so that's when he decides to bluff.
And so yeah,
And
then
where
he comes up with the
Corbimite.
With the Corbimite Maneuver.
Thank goodness Thomas isn't here.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He would Corb
And all of us would be like, Corbomite. We love you, Tom.
Oh, I love you, Thomas. Love you, bro. But yes, Kirk introduces us to the Corbimite Maneuver. Oh. In which he basically says, "Hey man, you can shoot us, but we'll blow up and blow you up.
When we go, we go."
Yeah, when we go, I mean, you gonna go with us. So that's up to you.
You, me, and the neighborhood. We're checking out.
I mean, I hope there's no planets that's close by. We tell them to take them out too. I mean, I don't know what you have planned for the night, but you better cancel those plans if you shoot at me. And so then,
basically saying that no attacking vessel has ever survived in the 200 years since Starfleet began using Corbomite. And he's like, "Come on, I dare you, shoot him, shoot
me." What? Then Balok takes a couple seconds and he says,
Bailey comes back and now he's all calm. I think McCoy took him in the back room for a minute. Was like, "Hey, here, hit this," because he comes back a lot calmer.
He's like, "Yeah, that's it. Kirk, all right, let me talk to you over here. As your doctor, I got one thing. Say to you. Here, take this. Take 2 puffs, pass, and go back to the bridge."
And the clock ticks down. 5,
Then-
4, 3, 2, 1, and nothing. Nothing.
Then we get a call from Baylock saying, "Hey, so I'm gonna watch you. I'm not gonna shoot right now, but I'm gonna watch you." And so
Yeah,
then,
he wants proof. He wants proof. And
yeah,
Kirk's like, I'm
he's
not
like,
giving you proof.
said,
Proof. Proof's in the pudding, my guy. Proof's in the pudding. Pull the trigger.
He said,
Pull the
all right,
trigger.
well, huh? You know what? All right, I'm gonna just hold it on you,
We're gonna chill for a
but I'm gonna
second while
hold
we.
it on you. I'm not gonna pull it just yet, but I'm hold it on you. And so that now they're at a standstill. He's bought the bluff, at least for about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And then,
he's letting Baylock sweat now. He's letting Baylock sweat.
and so yeah, as Baylock sweats in, I guess they come to a compromise and say, "Look, I'm gonna take you over to this planet over here. We're gonna talk this out." And so as he takes his part of the disco ball pops off, and has his little ship, his disco ball ship. I don't know what else to call it, but it's a disco ball ship.
The disco ball ship. Well,
Uh,
it's called the Fisarius. That's all I can tell you.
uh,
Fisarius, the USS disco ball ship. I don't know.
it's
Or disco class USS
the disco
Fisarius.
class. It's the disco class. Shit.
Yeah,
It's-
and that's an oxymoron in itself because there's no class in disco.
Especially in
All
disco ball. And so as they're dragging the Enterprise to wherever they're gonna go,
Yeah, the little
Kirk,
scout ship that like pops off
right,
and does the
at
tractor beam, starts dragging them away. Yeah,
starts
that's
dragging them
right.
away, they decide,
I want you to
you
go
know,
left and right real fast.
so just
Break is 3.
serpentine, just like serpentine,
Serpentine.
and just
I need
serpentine.
I need you to juke and weave. I mean,
So I need you to, and when I say hit the gas, hit the gas. No, but all right, just
float
do
like
it.
float like a butterfly, juke and weave, dodge and duck and
So,
cover.
say, but Captain, just do it. Serpentine now. So, and so they do that, and then they break free. So, kudos to Kirk for finding a way to break free of a tractor beam.
Yeah, they
And
finally
so,
break free. Yeah, and they veer away from it, and this is Baylock's ship becomes disabled. I guess the dodging
because
and
of
the weaving, the bobbing and the weaving, the juking and all that
because
stuff. You know.
when they broke free, it set off some kind of chain reaction that disabled Baylock's ship.
This is a
So,
classic example of when someone zigged when they should have zigged and zagged when they should have zagged because it
exactly.
worked.
So it worked out perfectly. So again, kudos to Kirk. Great plan. Worked out perfectly.
Yeah,
Even with
except
Bailey.
that
Even with
except that
Bailey driving.
the Enterprise's engines are, you know,
So they're
in
shot.
disrepair. They're disrepair now, and Spock is like, well, hey, little ship over here just sent a
So
distress
they
signal
might have called over there to the big ship. And
to
they may be coming.
the disco class destroyer is on its way.
Yeah, so our engines are shot. His is shot. But he may have had a message through. And so then
Yes,
that's when they find
hoorah.
out the message is that, it's a distress signal. It's that, hey, we need help, need help, need help. And so,
Yeah, she interprets it because this little probe ship or whatever, its life support is down, and
yeah. So
they're
they
in trouble.
decide that,
So
you know, let's have a heart. And we do a face-to-face plea. So they take a stroll over there, beam over to his ship.
and why is McCoy in one minute McCoy's like all concerned about somebody's health, and now he's like, I don't know if we should go over there. Why are we doing that?
It's like,
McCoy, are you a little I don't know if you'd call that racist. Is it speciest?
Um,
Xenophobic? I guess would be a better
I
word.
guess, I guess, perhaps so. Because I mean, he always, he always has some kind of comment to say about Spock and you know half Vulcan and green blood and all this other stuff like that. So
But the one conversation, if there's anyone on this ship who looks like the devil, I wonder who it could be. Like,
I have no idea, Captain.
gee, Kirk. But Kirk, he's like, hey, we're out here to do this. You know, seek out strange new worlds, new life, and new
Yeah,
civilizations. That's what we do, man. It was in the opening of the show. Did you not hear it?
so, I mean, Doc, come on, come on, man. Like I get you would prefer to examine and operate on the beings and everything that you are 100% familiar with. I get it. And it throws you off having to examine Spock, and it throws you off having to examine. I get it. Okay. But,
They got a duck before they beam over too.
yeah. That's
Scotty's
like,
like, hey,
so,
you need,
but,
you need to duck. The ceilings are low. Like, okay,
yeah, but
like,
there's a
weird.
time and a place for that, and, that is not the time nor the place.
And that's when we get to finally meet, well,
Baylock.
kind of meet Baylock.
So we meet Baylock.
The,
But
the
then,
the effigy of Baylock, the
we
scarecrow,
see,
if you will.
yes, we see the puppet. We see the the wizard, the Wizard of Oz. Oz.
The man behind the curtain. And I have an image for that because this is actually one of the first episodes where I have the pleasure of not having to talk about anyone like a guest or character on the show who passed away. I usually like to say, hey, in this episode, this actor passed away at this point or something. I didn't have to do that this time because this particular individual, as soon as I find it, I know I already have, there we go. This is Mr. Clint Howard,
Clint Howard, the
brother of Ron Howard,
that is correct.
aka Richie Cunningham and
Opie.
Opie. Anyway, but yeah,
Yes, Clint
he's
Howard. He's
he's only in his 60s, I think. So I mean, he's not as old as most of the people we look up or in the ground, as you will. But
he's had a pretty successful career in
yeah,
doing movies and TV shows and spots like that, and hilarious.
he is funny.
Yeah, he's,
He is funny.
he's pretty
And
hilarious, dude.
despite the obvious voiceover that they did for him in this episode, because he looks like a child. He is a
Well,
child,
of course. I mean,
but they
that's
but they give him an adult voice to insinuate that his
that
whole
he
species
is.
is
eh,
tiny looking and childlike.
Even though he is an alien species, and so that is him as an adult. He may be an adult, but he looks like a child. It's like what, 4, 5, 6-year-old child, but he's probably like 600 years old.
Yeah, I
For all we
don't know
know.
how old he was. I don't know. Yeah, he could be thousands of years old. Who knows? But and interestingly enough, I mean, he does explain, to Kirk and Bailey and boarding party, just saying, hey, my intent was really just to test your disposition. I was never going to blow you up because after you meet the character of Baylock, the real Baylock,
Yeah,
without a doubt instantly, like this person has no
yeah, he
means
wasn't.
of being that evil, being that destructive.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna do that. And it was like, said, no, I just wanted to see, just had to test you whether or not if what you said was really true, because for
Yeah.
all I know, you could have just said, said all that, makes it sound good. It sounds really good. But the second I let you go, you could be just all doing all kind of just starting all kinds of wars and conflict and
Right,
everything like
exactly.
that all in my yard.
Uh,
And it's like, nah, that can't happen, bro.
And they clearly, obviously the First Federation clearly has a level of technology that is impressive.
Yeah,
So despite their
obviously
choice
that
of,
is
aesthetics,
yeah.
you know.
Despite the aesthetics and everything, is quite advanced, a little bit more advanced than theirs. And even Spock just said, in the face of a superior enemy, only thing we could do is just send a prayer out to the old gods and the new. That's about it.
Yeah, we are also introduced to now. I'd always wondered later in Star Trek, like what happened to the First Federation? Are they still around? I assume that they are because the drink that Baylock offers Kirk and crew is called Tranya, and they
Hmm.
actually do make references to that in Picard, in the series Picard. They're at a bar at one point drinking Tranya, and
Oh yes, I remember that now. Yeah.
yeah, the episode with Bruce
Hmm.
Maddox in it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So it's they're still out there. I just can't help but wonder, like my nerdisms take me places like I
Oh,
want to see the Fesarius versus a Borg cube. Has anyone done a 3D simulation of that yet? I mean, if
I don't
not, and
know. I
you're
haven't looked
listening
it
and
up.
you
I'll
you
check it
do
out.
that thing,
'Cause-
I'd like
but
to
yeah,
know. That would be very cool. Because
that
I
would
mean,
be
it's
cool.
big. I still think it's bigger than a Borg cube. I mean, easily.
Oh yeah, very. It is easy. Yeah, because a Borg cube is it was about roughly well, it's about twice as big. I would say about twice as big as Voyager. The Voyager is Enterprise was about Enterprise was about the same size as Borg cube or Borg, roughly, wasn't it? Mm.
The Enterprise D was much smaller
No,
than a
it
Borg
was
cube.
smaller because it went through a cube in Picard. That's right.
I'm trying to
But
find the dimensions of the one from Best of Both Worlds, but let's see here. Let's see. They're saying somewhere about 1,000 meters, so each side is 1,000 meters, versus say the saucer section of the Enterprise D is 230 meters.
okay. So yeah,
That seems about right.
yeah. All right.
But yeah, I like those little mashups and stuff like that. So anybody out there that does, like, if we can't find one and you do little 3D simulation type stuff, I want to see the Pasarius go up against the Borg cube and see what happens. I'll take your opinion for it. I just want to see a cool fight.
Was it? They're Borg cubes and the Borg spheres that are out there. So if there's not a is there not a disco death ball? I will make a disco death ball.
The Borg also have diamonds. Those were interesting, and they're probe ships, which are kind of like
I did see those.
trapezoids.
Yeah, I saw those after.
The
Yeah.
assimilators are like trapezoidic and trapezoidic, flat cubes
Well,
with angular sides.
honestly,
That's a
to a
trapezoid,
point,
right?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that would be their ships would be geometrical shaped. It doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me at all.
And the Fesarius is not just a sphere, it's a sphere of spheres. It's like a whole bunch of spheres. Like we can just detach one light bulb and fly away.
Right.
But anyway, as is the case, happy endings in Star Trek, at least back in this day. Um, Bailey decides to stay as a representative of the Federation with Baylock on his ship.
Yeah.
And
So
Bailey seems to be like, hey, cool. Now this is cool.
said,
I
all
like
right.
this.
So
Cool.
as long as I know it's a little baby man that I could easily beat up, I'm good.
And they get the tour of the ship and stuff like that, which is I was actually surprised that Kirk can say, "Hey, when you're done, you can come over and look at my ship too, if you'd like." Unless you're just not impressed because your giant disco ball is giant, and I'm not
Said
giant. So
he said Baylock probably looked through his ship already. And said, oh, that's cute.
you don't have any Corbimite? No, I'm not interested.
So yeah,
But yeah, you could clearly tell that Clint Howard was having fun with this role because he was very animated despite having his voice being voiceover. So he was
Oh yeah.
very, very much into it. I can only imagine being what, I don't know, 10, 8, 10 years old, maybe even younger. Who
Probably.
knows? And like you're gonna be in Star Trek when TV was still new. Like
Yeah.
color, like hey, it's in color now. Like holy. And what did you have to
Yeah,
watch back
exactly.
then? Howdy Doody, Star Trek, the news, and I don't know, Mickey Mouse Club. I don't know. Whatever they played back in those days. The Honeymooners.
I don't know. I
Remember
don't
like
know.
Marty McFly? Remember Marty McFly? Oh, I've seen this episode. How could you
So
see it?
how
It's
you say
brand
it?
new.
It's brand new.
On a
Uh,
rerun. What's a
what's a
rerun?
rerun?
Don't worry, kid. Grow up, watch Star Trek. You'll learn very quickly what reruns and syndication truly are. And it's
Oh yes.
because of a last ditch effort of syndication that we have this wonderful job that we have right now, talking about so much Trek content that I hope we
So
don't die before we get through it. I mean, there's
I know, right?
so much Trek content now, so much. And yeah, that's it.
Huh.
They get the tour of the ship, and we have a new ally. We have the first Federation ally. We've got Tranya. I don't know what it tastes like, but I'm sure it gives a nice buzz.
So he's got to because hey, Kirk likes it, Doc likes it, so hey,
And really,
Federation
other than
approved.
other than the poker themes and stuff like that, and the strategic kind of nature of the ship, and even the underlying theme of mental health, it really was kind of an episode I thought that fulfilled that to explore strange new worlds and seek out new life and new civilizations. That's the whole point. And, it was a first contact episode essentially.
Yeah, absolutely, and it did kind of illustrate with Bailey is that the definite potential of just extreme situations and being traumatized and just acting out with that PTSD like that. And again,
Yeah,
and it
absolutely.
falls back with men's mental health. And and again, it's like just I understand and I get it. When you're in deep space and you're in unfamiliar territory, but at the same time, is that you've got so many other people that's relying on you. Is that you can't allow yourself to break down like that.
No, you can't. You got to have total faith in your crew.
Right.
You know, because again, Kirk even said it. He's like, you have some good suggestions. I'll keep that in mind once this becomes a democracy." But it's not. It's a Kirktatorship.
Right. And so, and
In the
again,
military,
I
you don't get to raise your hand and place a vote.
yeah. So it's like you got to order. You got to follow that order.
Absolutely. But yeah, definitely a
But
fun episode. As far as wrapping up goes, it's nothing pretty straightforward. Not a lot of nuance to it.
so
I mean,
no, because yeah, it's yeah, just like I said, it's a Wizard of Oz episode. You see, hey,
I might have
look
to
over here,
start
look
like
over here, look over here. Oh, wait, look at the curtain. You know,
we might have to come up with a rating scale. I don't know if we want to use like the same rating scale that, we're not going to use cans of certain toxic fumes.
we're not going to do that.
We're not going to rate it by that. Maybe we'll start rating all of our future episodes by glasses of Tranya.
That's a good suggestion. So how many glasses of Tranya, or like how many glasses of
Well,
Tranya equals a Ractagino, or how many Ractaginos equal
or there we go. We'll just create a scale, and the scale will be a different drink, of just going up. Tranya will be one rating, Romulan ale will be a rating, Rappuccino will be a rating, Saurian brandy can be a rating.
yeah. Dude,
Well,
I
we
guess
will have to
we'll work out
brainstorm
the
this.
details. We'll work
We'll
out
have
the
to
details.
brainstorm this one. We'll
Yeah.
have to brainstorm this one. Absolutely. But yeah, so next week we're going to be reviewing the Menagerie. I wouldn't expect there to be too much recap. It really is just a lot of reused footage from the cage. But we do have a
Yeah.
special guest coming on the show, and we are super excited about that. So if you want to watch me and number one, fan out.
It's gonna be a great show. It's gonna
We're
be a
super
great
excited.
show.
Our very first guest on the Rules of Nerdquisition.
So,
You want
I'm
to send
excited.
us off because you have always had that very important message to leave us with every time we sign off. And I think it's important. And I will
Well, of
leave
course it's important. I mean,
final words with number one. Take us home.
well, again, just want to say, this was a fun episode, really straightforward. As uh, we've seen in men's mental health, it's important. Then, therapy. We all need it. But remember, be safe, live long and prosper, keep all your triples spayed and neutered, and I will throw it back over to the captain.
Live long and prosper. Maximum warp. Engage.
Thanks for stopping
Recording
by.
stopped.
Oh, that got cut.
Ah,
Sorry.
we're good.